Ladies and gentlemen, who's excited for Championship Sunday? Welcome to MLG 2011, the pro circuit here in Anaheim, California. I'm DJ Weeks.
And I am Day 9. We've been having a slew of crazy results down in that lower bracket with team versus team all over the place, especially poor Team Liquid that just cannot avoid having its members knock each other out.
It has got to be rough in any situation. You have such camaraderie as a team, but then when it comes down to an individual competition, doesn't matter how good of friends you are, you must slit the throat of even your best buddy.
And exactly like in Spartacus Blood and Sand, it's painful, Marcus.
Sean, I love you. You're great, but
and it's slow motion, 1,000 frames per second, and that's exactly what we saw in TLO versus Sheth in the lower bracket. In control faced TLO at the start of the day, but TLO knocked him down narrowly 2-1. But Sheth eliminating TLO in 2 short games. So that will put Sheth versus Naniwa as the first match in the lower bracket. Also, Slush versus Select ongoing right now. Select knocking out White Raw by inches this morning.
Yeah, I mean, so actually I got a chance. It was the one game this entire weekend that I got to sit out there in the crowd and watch the matchup, watch Husky and Mr. Bitter do their thing. And Select looks good. I mean, the bounce back happening. And again, we see that you might not perform so hot in your championship pool, but when it comes down to, like, winning those games that count, people are still doing it.
And for any of you,
did, Select did.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you didn't see that game between Select and White Raw had his Zealot leg speed at 99% done. And then Select watched how Puma beat MC at NASL and said, I'm going to do that. And kills off the Twilight Council and then pushes in for the win. And
it made a huge
against
difference.
Marauders.
A huge difference, yeah.
So Slush Select 1-1 right now. Also, Sake versus Wannabe Cool. Wannabe Cool, I do believe, got the farthest from the open bracket, in addition to White Rock coming all the way from the lower bracket. But Wannabe Cool was knocked out by Sake. And Sake proceeded to knock out Moonin 2-1. So now that means it is Rhett versus Sake in an extended series, and that will be casted over on the blue stream.
Excellent. Well, we are about to see, all Korean upper bracket finals right here, guys. In the semifinals, we're going to be starting off with Boxer versus Rain.
Oh, man, that's got to be a fan favorite. I mean, Boxer, the biggest legend in the history of StarCraft versus Rain, one of the open bracket players who crushed the competition in his group, going for that perfect, flawless record. And the real question on everyone's mind is, will Rain, who has recently joined a foreigner-focused team, be able to take on Boxer, who is not only a champion just in general, but also he's a huge practice player, definitely has a lot of those new school styles coming out at this tournament. I wonder if he has one prepared for TVT.
I certainly hope so. I have a feeling that both players will be mentally ready for the game. Boxer, obviously a guy that doesn't need much introduction. We have seen him falter sometimes in the past in TVTs, but every player, able to sort of reconstruct themselves when they have weaknesses. Certainly a player like that who's been doing it for years and years and years and years. That will be a great matchup. And then the other matchup that we'll be doing after that,
Dongray Gu versus MVP
could be one of the most amazing series here at MLG Anaheim.
I mean, it's one of those situations where even if you're not a fan of MVP or Dongray Gu, their skill level is so high. 2 players playing likely far better than almost anyone in their pools. Players first ranked in their pools, undefeated, now against each other. And MVP never really does anything too wacky or out of the ordinary, but has ridiculous resilience.
Yes.
Is extremely adaptive no matter what's being thrown at him. And Dongray Gu has been playing, quite honestly, just really weird, but also extremely potently. I really want to see his ZVT at a high level.
There's also like a little underlying story that goes with that matchup that we'll talk more about when we get to that point. But both these players aspiring to have the Code S spot in GSL, and this being one way to springboard into that position. And of course, MVP, he's no stranger to the even late rounds of GSL. But Dongray Gu, who made a huge splash in the GSTL, I think he deserves to be there. But that is going to be an amazing matchup. We got to put that on hold a second, because coming up now, it's SlayerSBoxer taking on FnaticRain.
Match is getting started. Two #1 ranked players in their group. Rain, second place in GSL, demonstrating that that was not a fluke victory. Boxer, showing all those wrong who said that he couldn't make a comeback and compete at the top levels. What will be the result today? In the south position, the man we saw pull off brilliance on the stage time and again yesterday. It is Fnatic MSI's Rain. And in the north position, many said that he was in a permanent slump and would never get out of Code B. But at this tournament, he's showing us an entirely different story. It's SlayerSBoxer.
And it's going to be your last chance right now, guys, for a chance to win an Xperia Play or a Play a Pro with TLO session. You can text the letters MLG to 66937. You have just a few hours left today at the end of the competition. One lucky winner will be selected. So if you've ever wanted to play with TLO, and who wouldn't want to play with TLO, or get yourself an Xperia Play, you can text MLG to 66937.
I know the feeling of being nuked by that top German player must be just incredibly awesome.
It's depressing, but totally rad at the same time.
We do see gas coming up first for both players. Ooh, this is something that we saw so much at the start of StarCraft 2 when people were experimenting with the add-on swappings, figuring out the fastest ways to get the Banshee up. And players pulled back to do more of the standard, solid barracks first play, but now we see the resurgence of this fast refinery. And given the trends from the Slayers team, would not be surprised to see a lot of Blue Flame Hellions.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised either. In fact, we've been seeing it in just about every, well, maybe not so much in TVPs, but we've definitely been seeing it in the TVTs, in the TVZs, and it looks like an incredibly strong build, as the results have shown throughout the weekend. A lot of Zergs. It is sort of the mumbling, like, can you lane a Blue Flame Hellion? This stuff is going. I mean, it is. You walk into any room and there's a Zerg player there, and it might get brought up and mentioned. So yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
If you go to the Zerg bar, it's just contraband to say that word. People give you a bad look, like you just said some sort of slur. Blue Flame Hellions, get them out of here. And now Boxer now going for that factory. What's going to be happening in Camp Rain? We see the factory coming up as well, but I mean, look at the production tab. It looks like Boxer is ahead in every front. The orbital command way earlier, the barracks, Marine popping out, the depot, but weirdly enough, I'm not sure how Rain fell so far behind, and now an SCV loss is going to be tallied on the table for Rain.
Yeah, and there it goes down right there. Of course, the Marine just getting out at the perfect time there. Didn't deny the SCV complete vision, but I think he's okay with that. He got rid of it, and anything beyond that, where we do see the tech lab going down in the factory. Over on the other side, we've got a tech lab going on the racks, and could see a possible swap right there.
I'm just going to call it. They're both going to go Blue Flame Hellion as quickly as humanly possible, but I would expect that Boxer will follow it up with some sort of faster starport. There's the refinery incoming, and ladies and gentlemen, we have Blue Flame Hellion versus Blue Flame Hellion. Uh-oh.
Yeah, the timing is about right on the money there. So despite the fact that Rain got his factory up just a little bit behind Boxer, both of them right on that same timing. Now the question is do neither of them have a Hellion out too? So the numbers are going to be quite the same. And you've all seen that scary moment where you're fighting, you've got Blue Flames and your opponent doesn't. Well, those Blue Flames just absolutely wreck those Hellions. But when it's Blue Flame versus Blue Flame, suddenly it comes down to massive control. Who is going to be able to control those units the best?
Both players trying to line up the other player, and who can do it better? I mean, there's just so much misclumping that can go on. We saw in Rain versus QXC. QXC even pulling off some huge wins in the Hellion versus Hellion battles just by getting to line up a little bit better.
Rain is putting these two Hellions up here on the upper lip. That could be an indication that the moment we get that first medevac to come out, he might just go ahead and fire them over. Or he could send them across the map, as we see many, many times, and get picked up later on. We will see Boxer with this nice little southern tip supply depot in his base, because this is a very popular place for those Hellions to make their entrance in. But it looks like Boxer will be the one who moves out first, and we've got a couple of Hellions that could meet up on the battlefield.
It's going to be 2 versus 3, and there's Rain. It looks like they have spotted each other. Boxer actually just going to go right past it. Where is the medevac? Looks like no medevac out right now for Boxer, instead favoring a Viking, and Boxer does pick off one Hellion. That's going to be quite big. Where are the defenses? Rain doesn't seem to have any at the front of his base. Rain trying to make sure his Marines don't line up, but he lines them up, and now Boxer marching directly into the worker line, and the workers, oh, he's going to try to line him up, and there it is.
Oh my gosh, huge hits going down here as the first Hellion was taken out, but he's got to be careful. The control is oh so important. He tries to get one more blast off, and it does not happen, but we look, and 10 workers were killed in that exchange, and there was a big advantage there for Boxer. As he was on his way down to Rain's base, he saw a lone Hellion that got taken out, immediately making Rain's reinforcements just that much less effective, and that means that Boxer still does have the Hellion advantage. Actually, it's about tied up right now at 4, but certainly the damage has been done. Rain just loaded up, though, a medevac full of 4 Hellions. Let's see if he can equalize things, but Boxer may have a surprise waiting over here for him.
Boxer, Spider Sense is going crazy. But Spider Sense is just a few inches off. Oh my gosh, Rain is sneaking around the top side. Boxer with the there's a scan. That's a very telling scan placement. And Boxer finds the medevac. He's going to begin working it down. Rain is going to suicide all these Hellions in. The SCVs run immediately. And who will be able to win the Hellion battle? Rain desperately chasing the SCVs. And he doesn't get the kill. Two workers killed.
Can you imagine if there were actually 2 Hellions left on that? It would have been a massive hit right there, but a good job by Boxer with the retreat of his SCVs, minimizing those losses, and now Boxer feels like it is a time. He's got a grip of Hellions. There's 6 of them there, and not a whole lot defending. There is the 1 tank out for Rain right now, and that could be very good in this situation, but even with a lot of blue flames, a few volleys, he might give up some Hellions, but if he takes out that tank, there's very little defense left for Rain.
A gaggle of Hellions moving in, but pulling back to the small flock from Rain. We see more factories are down, 2 Tech Lab add-ons, but in Camp Boxer, we see the double reactor finished. Hellions and Vikings being produced galore. The barracks lifted to the backside. The Expo up and running for Boxer. But we see Boxer skimping a little bit on his worker production. 2nd Tech Lab incoming, and it is a total lockdown at the front of Rain's base.
Yeah, right now also Rain, here he's going to make an advancement as the command center coming over. He's got to be very careful here. There's his 4 Hellions. That was a great shot by Boxer, but he's got to retreat with those tanks. He does not want to lose any more of those Hellions. It could give him additional advantage going in here. And right now, the units for Rain very light. We see the 2 Marines out, 2 tanks, and a single Viking. That's all the army consists of. Over on the other side, 3 Vikings for Boxer, 7 Hellions, and 1 Marine also sitting on a Raven.
I want to point out again how important it is that Boxer has the reactor starport, and Rain does not. That means if suddenly Boxer wins a Viking battle, then it's going to be nearly impossible for Rain to recontrol the air. So the tanks from Boxer can almost always get in better positions.
Looking over on the other side, we have FnaticRain with a barracks just floating just to the north of his 3rd. And look at the coverage over by Boxer in between his 2 bases. He's got patrolling Vikings everywhere. He's got a barracks that's scouting that airspace just to the east base as well. And so he's really wanting to make sure that he can't give up any positioning or any unwanted economy loss by something coming out right there. The Rax from Rain is going to make his way over, flies right over that pack of Hellions, and that means that Rain will quickly retreat out of there because, again, when it comes to Blue Flame Hellions, the numbers and control certainly tell the tale of how that battle will unfold.
Boxer getting a lot more money, but man, I think he was quite late on these 2 geysers. Meanwhile, down in Rain's expansion, we see the 3rd geyser has been up for a brief period of time. So Rain's starting to pull a little bit ahead in that gas lead. But look at the food. It's 100 to 80. So Boxer ahead by 20 food. And if these Hellions get caught off guard for Rain, that would be devastating. We see Boxer starting to inch his way forward, and even has a Raven out. The Raven will heavily swing the air favor over to Boxer.